Hello everyone. Today I'd like to show you how I've been using the CinDwood Giant Oval Loom to make it easiest for me to work with, and maybe some of these tips will help you make it easier to work with such a big loom. The blanket on this one is almost finished, so it's very long, but I just tuck it between my chair and my footstool. My footstool is just a fabric storage box. I also keep yarn in there as my stash, my next projects. And I just lay half of this loom on one end and half on my lap. And then I'm going to be working right here at all times. I'm not going to be reaching across or anything, just sitting right here. I can relax and do it. I can sit up a little bit and do it, but this works the best for me. So we'll get started. On this row, it's just E-wrap the whole way around. So that's all I'm going to be doing. The first four in this particular pattern is pearls on this row before the border. So as soon as I can pick up my yarn, it's being a little stubborn. The yarn I'm using is Red Heart Super Saver Chunky. I believe it's been discontinued. I've had this in my stash for a while now, waiting for the perfect project. And when this loom came out and it was in 5/8 inch gauge, I knew I wanted to try to use up this pink yarn. It's certainly not my favorite yarn, that's for sure, because it splits. But so far, it's not as soft as working with some other yarns, but it's not bad. I know that it will soften up as I go. But this loom is so easy and so nice to use. I'm so thankful. You know, I always thought their original pegs were really nice, but when they changed to these tall, slender pegs, it's perfect. Your yarn doesn't fall off your pegs very easily at all, and yet it's still absolutely easy to knit them over. So I keep all my work right here in front of me. I E-wrap a little bit and then I flip them over. I turn the peg as I need to keep my work right here in front of me. I push it down a little as I go. Sometimes, since this is fabric, my blanket might have a tendency to get stuck a little bit. So I'll either pull it up or I'll pick up the loom. It's not heavy. The floor is supporting most of the weight of the yarn right now. So when I do this, I'm not picking the whole weight up. I can like this, and it's no problem. It's a little heavy, yes, but you won't have a problem with it. I also keep a plastic bin here, and that's what I put the loom over top of that. I keep all my yarn inside of it, and when I'm not looming, I just lay this big, huge, giant oval loom over top of that plastic box, and that helps me keep everything together, and then I can just push it out of the way when I'm not working on it. Once you start working with it, you won't even be thinking about how you're turning it or anything. You just get so used to turning it to keep it in front of you that you won't even think about it. I'm using the CinDwood pick that they send along with the Afghan looms. I don't use the pen that they send along for that some people do when they E-wrap to keep track of their tension, because it just gets in the way when I do my pearls. And if you know me and my patterns, there's almost always pearls or some kind of other stitch in my patterns. I like texture in my blankets. Don't get me wrong, I do love all E-wrap blankets as well, but I definitely like borders on them so they don't curl. And if you're going to have a border, that's purl stitches. And I just think that the Afghan tensioner pen just gets in my way. But when I was first starting, I used a straw like that when I didn't have the tensioner pen from CinDwood. I used a straw to keep my tension in all my E-wrap hats that I made. And that was it really taught me how to keep my tension. But now that it's been years, I don't have a problem with that anymore. If tension is your problem, then you definitely want to use theirs. It's a very nice one and very easy to use. And they send it along with the Afghan looms. So like I said, this one is 5/8 inch gauge. That's 5/8 inches between each peg. There's 140 pegs on this one. And on the 7/16 that they also have, there's 200 pegs. But that 7/16 is much better for number 4 yarn. Now, saying that, I know that a lot of people use the white KB Afghan loom to make blankets, and they use number 6 Burnett yarn. And they have no problem. And if you like to do that, let me tell you, this loom would be better because the pegs are taller than on the KB loom. And you will have more space because so many people in there say that, their stitches pop off. Well, if you look at the KB loom, the pegs are real short. And it's not meant for number 6 yarn. It's meant for a simple number 4 yarn. But if you like the way your material comes out from knitting on a small gauge loom with thick yarn, then you could do that with this loom as well. And it'll be a lot easier. Because like I said, you shouldn't, I have never, ever had any pegs fall out, get loose, or break on CinDwood looms. And it's been quite many years now that I've been using them. But if you're using the wrong gauge yarn on them, that can definitely be one of the reasons why so many people, especially on the KBs, have broken pegs. It's not meant for that. But with CinDwood, I would say you're be a lot better using thicker if you wanted to, with these tall pegs and not slipping off, having your loops slip off or your pegs break. This yarn really likes to split, and that is one thing I do not like about it. But I'm glad that I can have a chance to use it up and get it out of my stash. So I am almost completely back around again. Do my purl for my border. So even though it's such a big loom, it really doesn't take that much time to go around the loom and get your work done. So that's it. So I just turn it like that. Now I will turn and go back this way, and I will turn it this way as I work. And again, just have to lift it up if anything gets snagged. If your footstool is leather or plastic, it'll slide even better. But mine being fabric, sometimes, like I said, it gets hung up a little bit. But the CinDwood looms are fabulous. The starter is right here in the middle, which I find works great for me. I love the anchor pin. I've talked about the anchor pin on other videos. It's just so nice to be able to tuck your yarn in there when you're finished, and it'll keep it nice and safe. And then I just lay this whole thing, I put my blanket in that tote box and lay the whole thing over top. And I have a cat and she can't bother it that way. I don't know what else to say. It's really, really a great loom if you like big blankets. If you like just throw blankets, then the 22 extra large looms would work fine for you. You can also do smaller blankets on here by using less pegs. If you just want a baby blanket, you maybe use half or maybe less. Or if you want a throw blanket, a few more, but you wouldn't have to use all of them. You could stop wherever you want to and turn around and go back. So if you just want here to here and just make say a wide scarf, you could do that. So you could do any of that on here if you want to. But if you want to work on a throw blanket and you don't quite want the cumbersome loom, you could use a 22-inch round loom to use your throw blanket. I really don't think it's cumbersome. I don't have a problem with it. When I first got it, I thought it looked really huge. But as you are around it and you're using it, it doesn't appear to be that big to me anymore. I really like it. And like I said, this is a nice big blanket. I will have the final measurements when I get it off the loom. I hate to measure while it's on the loom because I just don't get a good measurement that way. I also prefer to wash my blankets as soon as they come off the loom, and that gives me a better measurement because everything locks into place in the washer, all your stitches, and it just seems like I get a better or closer to the actual dimensions of the blanket once it comes out of the washer and dryer. So that's what I plan to do with this one. And like I said, I'm almost finished. It's a beautiful blanket. It's very big. It's definitely going to be bed-sized blanket. So if that's what you're looking for, order a loom. They're excellent quality. I don't know what else to say. That it's just the best. Thanks, everyone. Bye.